Does anyone have anything to say? You've got a job to prepare for? No, she does not have anything to say. Probably no one will have anything to say, but I'll check anyways. Blitz is hanging out here since, you know, there's a whole ass dead body over there. Everyone's out and about. Oh no. Where's Samuel? Oh, maybe that's him here. Yay, okay, good. Hi, Lane. Let's have a last chat with everyone. Alexei Lane looks to have endured the attack on the Cruise Bazaar without injury. You find him surveying the damage with sad eyes. You alright? The troll shakes a heavy head, nothing showing more weariness than wound. This should never have happened, not here. It's one thing to strike an old man whose time is done, but to attack the Cruise Bazaar and endanger the lives of innocents, that is unforgivable. The cowards who ordered this attack will face justice. You have my word. There's a fine line between justice and vengeance, but right now I don't much care to make a distinction. Do whatever you must. For the Cruise Bazaar to remain safe, it needs people like you. Afer, what a relief to see you alive. Samuel wraps you up in an enormous hug. You should know that your generosity has saved dozens of lives. Oops. What happened? When the attackers came, we all took refuge in the Afer Civic Center. Its strong walls and sturdy gate kept us all safe from harm. Had our people been on the street, had they been in our old building, which came under fire during the attack, none of them would be alive. We owe you, Afer, more now than ever. You may not look upon yourself as a hero, but to the people of the Cruise Bazaar, that's what you always be. How's Alexander? How's your organization? Accepting donations? No. This is all just like the same questions. Alright, let's see how everyone else is doing. In the aftermath of the attack, you're surprised to see Simi Kim has survived with only a few scrapes and bruises. You saved us. If only I could have prevented it. Some things we can't change. We can only move on from where we are. Monica taught me that. Are you hurt? I lost my shoe when I was running, and then I fell. But Doc Escabel found me. He picked me up, took me with him. He hid me in a drawer, gave me a blanket, and told me to be quiet. It was so dark and it smelled, but I didn't make a sound. I heard yelling, things breaking, and gunshots, I think. If I had one of my Sims, I could have gone inside. But I didn't, so I had to stay out here. I don't know how long it was, but when the drawer opened, it was over. I guess he finally remembered that oath. Kim doesn't seem to understand, but she nods anyway. I'm gonna check on the others. Okay. That was crazy, my Freundin. Bullets flying, people dropping like fries. Crazy. Old Zach had to use his magic on a few of them. See that puddle over there? He laser points to a yellow-green stain on the cobblestones and gave you a slow nod. Yeah, that was one of them. Attacker, thy name is Goo. That doesn't look like a blood stain. It looks more like somebody spilled his drink. He rolled his bugged-out eyes. Yeah, sure, that's what it looks like to you. If you had the sight, you'd know better. Anyway, what can old Zach get for you? Afer? Dr. Eskel gives you a once-over and nods. I see that you made it through the attack relatively unscathed. Did you have any run-ins with the attackers? No. Truth be told, I was in surgery when the attackers hit and they never disturbed my office. I spent the entire story event elbows deep in the abdomen of an elderly dwarf. His nephrotic screen needs a tune-up. That's funny. Simi Kim tells a different story. The sound of Simi's name wipes the smile from his face. He stares at you, the color draining from his cheeks. Ah, yes, Kim. I didn't know that the two of you were acquainted. Why the lie, Doc? You saved her. If anything, I think he'd brag about it. It wasn't a lie, not completely. I was working on a patient when the fighting broke out. When I heard the gunshots, I ducked out of my office to find the girl. When I got back, I hid her away and went back into surgery. Thanks to a copious dose of isoflurane and nitrous oxide, my patient was blissfully unaware of the interruption. Simi also said that she heard gunshots and breaking glass. Care to revise your story any further? Escabil's lips tighten in a distaste. Please don't call her that. Her name is Kim. And yes, an attacker did break in partway through the operation. He fired his weapon into the wall and shattered some very delicate equipment. And how'd you get rid of him? That will remain my secret. Suffice it to say that my experiences in Spain gave me a newfound appreciation for high lethality security systems. Let your imagination run wild from there. There is a long pause. Escabel tries on another smile, but it falls away quickly. I don't intend to spend any longer on this, Afer. I've already said my piece. I feel a certain level of responsibility for Kim's welfare, never mind why, so I take care of her as best I can. That's all I intend to say on this subject, so we can talk shop, or you can leave. Hey, Gennari. Afer, I'm glad to see that you made it through the attack. Not all of mine were so lucky. Are you okay? I admit back. No, I lost an ace today, but I'm doing a whole hell of a lot better than our attackers are. The sons of a bitch has hit the wrong keys. I put 6 of them in the ground personally, and when I found out who they are, where they lived, he turns his head and spits. Ain't nothing gonna save those people. He shakes his head and turns his attention to you. But you didn't come here to listen to me rage. You're after a bit of payback yourself, I'll wager, so what can I help you get? Hey Luca, are you feeling safe? I guess so. Hey Alchig, are you feeling safe? The Turk is pale, his eyes sunk into his head. I'm gonna try that again. The Turk is pale, his eyes, sunken into his head, are ringed by dark circles. We are closed today, Effendi. I would have locked the door, but the lock is broken. Now I must stand guard. You look terrible, my friend. Tell me what has happened. He rubs his hand across his mouth. Aww. During the attack on the Cruise Bazaar, they broke through the door, heavily armed. 2 of them. They broke through the door and just started shooting. No questions, no robbery, just shooting. Cammy, my girl, my little street rat. He holds his hands over his face, collects himself. I reach under the counter. I keep a gun there, you see, and they saw. Both of them turned on me. Goldschmidt, that fat idiot Goldschmidt, flung himself in my way. How he managed to move that great mess of a body so quickly is a mystery to me. He hung there, suspended in time as they shot him, dancing on their bullets as they ripped him apart. But he shielded me long enough, Effendi. I was able to get my gun and end those sons of whores. Goldschmidt was your friend after all, eh? That is the thing of it, Effendi. All that time, all that bickering between us, I was serious. I couldn't stand the man, but apparently it was something different to him. None of us will be the same after this. Still, it is good for us. I think. Healthy. It reminds us that even though we have created our little island of stability in the Cruise Bazaar, this is still the flux state, still Berlin, and the wolf is always at the door. If we are to keep our home, we must be vigilant, and we need people like Monica, people like you, to keep it safe. Sakorin, my friend. Be healthy. Be strong. Damn. That sucks. Poor Cammy. She was just a kid. Like, she's like, you know, like a teenager. Hi, Absinthe. The elf behind the counter says nothing. She stands in silence, staring at you. Are you alright? I hope that you weren't hurt in the attack. One of the attackers came in here. Did you know that? He pushed his way past Algernon's wards and forced himself into this shop. Her nostrils flare. He threatened us. Threatened me. Where is he? I don't see a body anywhere. He left under his own power, scampered off into the street. Her shoulders raised in a slight shrug. The last I saw of him, he was cracking his own skull open with a rock. What did you do to him? She examines her fingernails. I lifted the veil. I showed him my true face and destroyed his mind. What the hell are you, Absinthe? Because I'm pretty sure you're not an elf. No, I am not an elf. I am merely a passenger in this body, a guest, here to experience what you would call life, as I have 1,000 times before. You lack the means to perceive what I really am. You do not possess the sight. All sad, that is probably for the best. Your species is so very fragile, after all. You're right, I don't have the sight, so tell me what you are. Something beyond your understanding, a child of the astral plane, wild and free, unfettered by the bonds of servitude that chain so many of my kind. In truth, what I am should not concern you so much as what I know. Okay, I'll bite. Tell me what you know. Truths hidden from mortal eyes. In my time as an observer of this world, I have witnessed a great many things, wonders and terrors beyond measure, the birth and death of nations, the rise and fall of gods. I have seen the ebb and flow of magic from the 4th world to the 5th to the 6th. I have watched in awe as the tides carried wonder and miracle into the world of men, and I have mourned as they were swept back out again. I was born witness as the cycle began and ended, and began itself anew. I have seen what came at the end of the 4th world, thousands of years ago, when ancient Terra crumbled into the sea. I saw the things that crawled in the carcasses of that once great nation. Vile, terrible things. Even now I can feel them. They drift on tides of mana, hungrily awaiting the end of the 6th world and the death of all that you know. I have seen what they will do when this world has run its course, Elf. They will rip the guts from your dying civilization, and they will feast upon your screams. Hold up. Who are they? Things born of nightmare. Horrors. The dark spaces between the metaplanes crawl with them. She looks into your eyes and you can feel your head swimming. Your kind fears what it can see. Corporations, dragons, violence and poverty, and the random cruelty of fate. If you could perceive reality the way that I do, you would know that there are much greater things to fear. If the world were an ocean, the hazards that you know might be sharks, dangerous creatures to be sure and worthy of respect, but below them in the silent deep, Leviathan circles. She turns away. Go now, Afer. Talk to Algernon. After all that has happened, I'm sure that he'll be glad to see you, but remember what I've told you. I will. So from what I remember, the people who owned, like, created Shadowrun originally also had another intellectual property, and it was like, I don't know, some sort of like Eldritch Horrors kind of a thing. And there was a plot line related to Dunkelzan, the dragon who was president for a day before he got exploded. He was assassinated, but I think it's been pretty much confirmed that that was, like, on purpose, and he was doing it to, like, protect humanity in a way. But that plotline was kind of dropped once the two IPs were owned by different people. You know, IPs get bought and sold. And so they couldn't have a crossover with that other property anymore. So that might be what that's in reference to. Although I'm pretty sure by the time these games got made, that had already long since happened. But I mean, whatever. It is kind of unfortunate that all these, like, neat little plot threads just kind of get dropped. But I guess if you're doing, like, Shadowrun games anyways, that's not really something that an actual game would be able to deal with. That's just more like lore fluff, I guess. Okay, let's talk to Algernon. Salutations, youngster. I believe that the Cruise Bazaar is still standing thanks to you. It was a team effort. Monica would have done the same. I agree, and you have filled her shoes admirably. Now tell me, how may I serve you? Questions. What can you tell me about Dante? He's not a normal dog. Indeed not. Dante is part hellhound, bred to be an elite guard dog. I assume he manifested some of his awakened abilities. Yeah, how did you know he was a hellhound? Monica bought him from me some time ago. He was a special order. She thought he could guard Haram so while she was away on business. Should I be worried about him? I would keep him fed if I were you. I understand he likes soy jerky, but if what I've heard is true, he has bonded to you. Unless you mistreat him, you have nothing to worry about. Now, is there anything else you need to know? Nope. The attack. It was terrible, Aether. So much death. She shakes her head. I had not killed since I retired from running the shadows. Not until today. But you're not here to listen to me complain. So what can I get for you? Name it and I will provide. Let's go to the to shut down the Apex AI. Apex, an artificial intelligence designed for matrix warfare. The thought of it sends a chill down your spine. For years, the shadows have been ripe with rumors of true AI. Names like Mirage and Psychotrope have fueled conspiracy boards on the Shadowland BBS since 2029. Most savvy Shadowrunners dismiss these stories as bunk, but from what Alice has told you, at least one of the stories is real. Apex is waiting for you somewhere down in the basement of an abandoned Seder Creep lab. Unfortunately, you're going to have to wade through a lot of gang territory to get there. Which I have a lot of. Oh hey, Ulrich. Whoever you are. A huge orc in ragged combat fatigue steps forward to meet you. He walks with the swollen bravado of a man who's used to getting what he wants. One of his meaty arms jerks up, hand held upright in the universal sign for stop. The other clutches a bulky assault rifle. The orc inspects you. His body language is decidedly unfriendly. You don't look like a magnificer. You're not one of us, and I'm guessing you ain't here for the hub either. So tell me, who are you, and what's your interest in this building? Business. I can't understand it. I need to get into the basement. It's important. Best of time. I'm gonna say, I need to get into the basement. It's important. Oh, it's important, you say. He makes a sweeping gesture in the direction of the building behind him. The other sort of toughs behind him smile. Well, by all means, go on in then. Really, thanks. He lets out a snort of derisive laughter. No, not really. You're dense. This building's under arbiter protection. We can't just let a stranger go waltzing on in. You might shoot up the place. I'm not planning on shooting anything, not unless I have to. Yeah, well, I can't exactly take that at face value. Look, it'd be better for everyone if you just turn back. We don't want to fight you, but we can't let bringing an unknown player into this. He pauses a moment to search for the right word. Situation right now. Maybe we could help you with your situation. Well, that puts a different spin on things. He pauses for a moment to consider. You look like you can handle yourself. We could probably use you if you're willing to help. There'd even be some money in it for you, but if not, well, the assault rifle in his hand shifts position slightly. That's a different conversation. And what exactly do you want us to do? Iger's tone is neutral, her posture relaxed, but one of her hands casually comes to rest on the butt of her shotgun. Ulrich doesn't seem to notice. We're having some trouble with a local mage game, the Magnificers. The orc turns his head and spits. They attacked us without warning, took up in our building, and kicked us onto the street. Me and my boys, we're the rightful protectors of this block, but the assholes that screwed us, they've got the building buttoned up pretty tight. We can't get in there to make things right, but maybe you can. If you get into the building and do some damage to those Drek-eating Magnificers, the Arbiters would be willing to pay you. 200 new yen per kill. You bring me back their amulets and you get paid. How's that sound? Iger raises an eyebrow. Your call, fearless leader. You know the timetable we're working on. 200 new yen per heading. Bad, but from where I'm standing, it looks like you need my help, and that tells me that you can do better. Fine, 250 per head, but that's my final offer. Works for me. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think this will work. Iger gives you a small nod. Her hand falls away from the stock of her shotgun. You need anything else, or are you ready to crack some skulls? I want to know who I'm working for. I'm Ulrich, leader of the Berlin chapter of the Arbiters. We're a poly club, small but growing. We serve the people of the working class, protect them from the parasites that would exploit them. You're not a fan of the F-state, then. Anarchy is not the solution to the people's problems. Do what thou wilt is a policy that rewards only the powerful. The working class gets trampled. A strong, people-centered communist movement is the only way to protect the interests of the common man. Give us a few years and that's exactly what we're going to be. I don't know what we're up against. Tell me about the Magnificers. A gang of parasites. They think that their magical talents make them better than everyone else. Because of that, they feel entitled to take whatever they want. Up until recently, they've been content with pulling pranks and stealing purses. Childish Jack, they were basically harmless. Then their new leader took over. Calls himself Trimethius, but I remember when he was just a skinny little prick named Eerie. He lets out a derisive snort. I should have kept a better eye on him, I guess. I should have stomped him flat when he started putting on airs. Would have saved everyone a heap of trouble. Trithemius took over the Magnificers, militarized them, and convinced them that they could take us. And thanks to the element of surprise, they actually managed to do it. The orc folds his arms across his burly chest. Any day now, we're going to show him exactly how bad an idea that was. I think I'll start by breaking Aria's neck. You look pretty dug out in here. Dug in out here. How long do you intend to man the trenches? We'll be here as long as it takes. We're taking our building back one way or another. For over 3 years, we protected that place. We held it for the people to do with as they pleased, kept it safe from parasites and exploiters. Everything was cool until those Drek-style Magnificers suckers punched us. No negotiation, no warning. They just turned on us out of the blue. Brought a couple dozen spirits down on our heads. I didn't even know that we were under attack until the water in my bathtub snaked up and tried to drown me. Most of us got out alive, but been stuck out here ever since. Just give us some time, though. We'll take the building back. We'll starve them out if we have to. And when we do, those scrawny bastards are going to pay. Anything I should know before the building before I head inside? You'll probably see some burnouts floating around the ground floor. They're all there for the hub. It's like some kind of church or something. Guy called Parson runs it. Between you and me, they're all batshit crazy. Not dangerous, just nuts. Why'd you keep them around at all, then? Because a lot of them are rich. They paid a Drekload in rent, and we redistribute the wealth to the common man. Let me guess, you define yourselves as the common man. Do you see a tie around my neck, pal? Do I look like a corporate stooge to you? We are the friends of the people, and we are the people. Don't you dare question it. Just one more thing. I need to get into the basement. Anything you can do that'll help me out. Basement? What could you possibly want to go down there for? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. You'd be surprised what I'll believe. Try me. Alright, I need to stop a killer AI so that I can rescue an elderly science from a ghost dragon. The future of Berlin could be at stake. You're right. I don't believe you. You're either lying or you're crazy. But crazy has its uses. Alright, I'll get you into that basement, but it'll cost you. You're charging us? Seriously? This isn't even your building anymore. You've got the wrong idea. I don't need Nguyen, friend. What I need is Trithemius' head on a fucking platter. Problem is, he's holed up somewhere in the building and we don't know where. Best guess, he's hiding somewhere upstairs in a room with no exterior windows. Somewhere, probably someplace close. He stashed the power coupling for the elevator. He pulled it to keep us from getting access to the guns we stashed in the basement. So, you find and kill Trithemius, grab the coupling out of his apartment, and bring me that stupid amulet he's always wearing so I'll know he's dead. He cracks a grin. Then I give you the control chip that I pulled when we had to fall back. Salt them back into the elevator and I'll take you to the basement. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Good, just remember, no amulet, no basement. Now go on through and show that little prick what it means to screw with the Arbiters. Medical supplies, equipment. Front entrance, I mean, I guess it probably doesn't matter. Alrighty. Hello, Parson. Is that your name? Yeah. The attendant behind the counter is an uncommonly fine-featured dwarf with a beatific smile. A yellow ID tag pinned to his chest announces his name in large blocky letters, Parson. He nods at you and raises a hand in greeting. Welcome to the hub, sister. Are you here to share in the splendor of communion? If so, I can show... If so, I can show you to an empty terminal. What do you do here? I am the custodian of the hub. I tend to the bodies of our brothers and sisters while they share in the rapture of communion. Okay, tell me more. Communion is a spiritual experience, friend. Available to all for a small donation. He gestures at the banks of terminals lining the walls. The hub acts as the core of the communion. Those who jack into it are in turn linked to one another, daisy-chained together at the braid stem. Race, gender, social class, all the artificial barriers to empathy that we've constructed as a culture. Communion strips them all away. It is a monument to the great truth that so many of us deny, that we're all the same at the core. Imagine it, friend. Dozens of individual minds all tied together into a single cohesive whole, sharing in a collective subconscious connected through the hub. Parson raises his hands in supplication. Join with us and feel your limitations fall away. You and your congregation need to stop. There's a killer AI on the loose in this building. The dwarf's benevolent smile does not falter. You are quite mistaken. The hub is a place of peace. We are in no danger here. I have some questions for you about the local gang activity. He nods. We do seem to have more than our fair share. Very well, I will answer your questions. Should I be worried about the gang war that seems to be gearing up around us? While you remain in the hub, you have nothing to fear. We pay well for the use of this place, and neither gang would risk driving us away. And the rest of the building? He spreads his hands. If you choose to go exploring, I can't guarantee your safety. What can you tell me about the Arbiters? Parson lets out a heavy sigh. A pack of snarling animals dressed up as a poly club. I'd steer clear of them if I were you. Their ideology is loosely based on neo-communist movements from the past. In truth, I think they just copied a few pages from an old Red Army faction handbook without ever bothering to learn what they meant. For all the rhetoric, the Arbiters are just another street gang. They shout for the sake of shouting. There's no real conviction there. If you came from outside, you probably bumped into their leader, a huge orc who calls himself Urik. He can seem reasonable, but I'd give him a wide berth. One more note. If I were you, I'd avoid being seen with the Magnificers. The Arbiters take shots at members of the Mage gang whenever they see them. If you're not careful, you could find yourself caught in the crossfire. I need to find more about the Magnificers. Power-drunk fools, a lot of them. The Arbiters were bad enough, but the Magnificers are even worse. The Arbiters' interests were limited to theft and violence in the name of their cause. The Magnificers. They have power, and they seem to relish in abusing it. Now that they've claimed the upper levels of the building, it isn't safe to travel beyond the ground floor. Several members of our congregation have been mauled to death by the Magnificers' pet spirits. He shakes his head sadly. Now we travel only in groups. You're safe down here, though. Yes, Trithemius needs the hub. To threaten this congregation would to jeopardize his primary source of income. But the upper floors enjoy no such protection. They have become dangerous places to travel. I'm looking for Trithemius. Any idea how I could find him? The smile fades from Parsons' face. Trithemius is a dangerous man. Why do you ask? I have business with him. Private business. He studies your face for a moment, then nods. Fair enough. Trithemius is almost certainly upstairs, hidden away from the outside world. I wouldn't advise going after him, but if your mind is made up, I suppose that I can't change it. Yes, I can tell you how to find him, but I'll need something from you in return. Yeah, of course you will. Saw that coming. Blitz sighs. Tell us what you need. A pair of squatters on the second floor ripped the guts out of one of my terminals. They have taken the data jack signal converter, and the terminal will be out of commission until I get it back. A single damaged terminal may not sound like much, but trust me, the entire experience of communion has been diminished by this act of vandalism. I believe that I know the squatters responsible. Their leader name is Janet. She's a decker of some skill. I don't know what she has planned for my parts, but I do know that the situation will not stand. I cannot allow another terminal to be damaged. And so you want us to deal with them for you? Yes, but not with violence. I want you to talk with them and convince them to bring me back my components. Do this and I'll tell you how to get to Trithemius. Deal? Sounds straightforward enough. Excellent, it's a deal then. So what can you tell me about this building? Beyond the hub, there isn't much to speak of. There's a small shop down the hall if you're hungry or in need of basic supplies. He shrugs and offers an apologetic smile, and that's about it, I'm afraid. What about the upper levels? There are floors above us, of course, but you're unlikely to find anything of value up there, just the domiciles of the faithful and the Magnificers who have taken charge of the building. I would steer clear of them if I were you. I need to get down to the basement. Ah, that would be difficult. The stairway leading down to the building's sublevels has been blocked, and the elevator has been sabotaged. It started working at the same time the arbiters were driven from the building. As we discussed, if you recover my stolen property, I will tell you how to find Trithemius. Otherwise, you could try your luck with Ulrich out front, but I wouldn't recommend it. So we're done with that. Let's see what else is going on here. What's in here? Oh, these are probably, yeah, these are the terminals that people are plugging into to be part of the communion. This is probably the shop. Hello, Carl. The man behind the counter looks tired. His lids are heavy and his eyes are bloodshot. Welcome to Carl's General Store. What can I do for you? Let's see your inventory. Just so I can have them. I need some info. He rubs his eyes and does his best to shake himself awake. Yeah, what do you want to know? What do you know about the Arbiters? Bunch of tough guys. They took a big cut of my sales and protection money, all in the name of the working class. Funny, last time I checked, I was one of the working class. In fact, I'm the only one who's working in this whole damn building. He spreads his arms, a helpless look on his face, but at least they kept some form of law. Mugging and assaults were rare, and they did let murderous spirits run loose in the upper floors. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. What do you know about the Magnificers? They don't care about much aside from their own magic. Whole world's one big magical pissing contest to them, always trying to summon bigger and better spirits. Dangerous stuff, man. Must be tough having to live down here with that going on over your head. It ain't easy. They charge less in protection than the Arbiters did, but they don't care about keeping anything even approaching order. They just hide out in their clubhouse, get high, and summon spirits that terrorize and kill people on the 3rd floor. He shakes his head. Poor bastards. What's the layout of this place like? He pauses for a moment, gathering his thoughts. When the words come out, they're slow as molasses. Well, you're on the 1st floor. That's the hub and my shop. The 2nd floor has mostly been converted into makeshift apartments for people to live in. A gang squats up there, the Magnificers. Dangerous people, I'd stay away from them. The 3rd floor is mostly housing, too. Lots of parsons, communion crazies live up there. The Magnificers have a squad up there, too. He leans in and lowers his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. I'm pretty sure their main crib is up there, too. Don't know exactly where. Okay, that's all I need. Let's go. Elevator. The elevator appears to be offline. The control panel's LCD screen is unlit and the metal casing is badly dented. Your decker easily pries the metal casing away from the wall, exposing a mess of wires and circuitry. After a quick inspection, it becomes clear that the elevator is wired to operate around a control chip. The chip is missing and it looks like a power coupling has been yanked alongside it. Without those components, there's no way for the elevator to function. Looks like both walls gave way and they took the roof with them. The entire hallway is blocked with debris. Alright, let's go upstairs. God, sometimes it just doesn't want me to be able to click on things. I think the 2nd floor is where those people were. Right? I don't know, it doesn't say. That goes probably up to the 3rd floor. Dark console. Heavy decker bypass the lock. Oh hey, it's Janet. A middle-aged woman with chocolate-colored skin and shoulder-length dreadlocks looks up from her PDA with a start. She's decked out in form-fit body armor, and in a flash, her assault rifle goes from slung to held at the ready. Who the hell are you, and how did you get through the door? I knocked nice, you just gotta know how. She gestures with her rifle. Cut the shit and start talking. What do you want and why are you here? Parsons sent me, he wants his hardware back. She shakes her head violently. No way, those parts are keeping us online, and not just us, but everyone worth a new yen in this hole. Parsons keep running his ridiculous little cult just fine with what he's got, but us, we're the only matrix connection that these people have. I don't have time for this, I need those parts right now. I don't want this to get messy, so back down. Not gonna happen. She aims her rifle at you for emphasis. Look, there's far more at stake here than your little corner of the Matrix, but no one needs to get hurt. All I want is the part. She looks you up and down, and you can see the doubt growing in her eyes. Finally, her shoulders slump in defeat. She lowers her gun and signals the others in the room to stand down. Fine, you win, asshole. Take him. The terminal's in the back room. You did the right thing. You saved lives. Screw you. Take your parts and get the hell out of my apartment. Examine the terminals to see if the signal converter can be removed without disabling it. At the moment, it's impossible to remove the part without disabling the terminal. The converter is required so the signal the terminal sends can be interpreted by the data jack of the tuner. Have your teammate examine it. The converter is a pretty specialized piece of hardware, but a data jack impulse transmitter is a widely available piece of equipment and can be converted to work in place. I wonder if there's one hanging out somewhere else. Let's look around a bit.